Great.
I'm going to talk tonight about fentanyl because
Ooh.
fentanyl is freaking me the fuck out.
I know a lot about.
Now, Asher's in his room right now. He has his door closed.
Should
I'm
you
sure he
not
has
yell?
headphones on. No, because we've had the fentanyl talk.
Oh, it's like sex, fentanyl.
No, I didn't need to have the sex talk with him. He learned from his older brother.
He learned from high school.
He learned sex leads to children pretty early on, so
Oh,
he understands.
that's fair.
So I did drugs in high school
Oh yeah,
and middle school and a little elementary school
I was a good child though.
and a little college, TBH. The drug landscape has changed though, and it's totally terrifying. It is not a fun carnival anymore. The days when
Carnival.
you could just go to a party and just take whatever was
Wait,
going around.
Hold on, let me
like,
adjust this so the hand
that
motions
has
get in there.
changed.
Great.
That has changed.
It's changed.
Those days are gone. Bye bye.
Bye bye. We need to start sign language practice again.
We do.
WTF. I
50
need one of
pounds.
those like wall screens between us.
I have liquid coming out my eyes and my nose, which
And
is
what-
annoying.
What kind of liquid is that? Are there any butterflies we need to be worried about? Drinking your eye tears? Spiders?
50
perhaps?
pounds of fentanyl was just seized in Florida a couple days ago. That's enough fentanyl to kill half the state of Florida.
In candy.
This was orchestrated. These drugs being pushed out there was orchestrated from inside a Florida prison by a convicted murderer.
Mm.
His people were on the outside and they were instructed to distribute these drugs throughout Florida.
Look at how great your hair looks.
No, I look just great anyways. That's why I'm always distracted, like, oh, hi. Oh, hey over there. Oh, hi you.
I know. One of a kind over here. Look at this. Keep talking about fentanyl.
Don't hate me
murders.
because I can pull off a Rudolph nose. There's lots of terrifying things about fentanyl, but one of the terrifying things is that just a teeny tiny amount, 2 milligrams, can kill an adult. This is 3 grains of salt. It's freaking tiny.
I love salt. Copious amounts.
But imagine how small that is. That's all the fentanyl that's needed to kill any of us.
If somebody, that's all they'd have to do is go into every home and put it in the salt shaker. People would, done.
Let's not give people ideas. I mean, after I did this,
I'm
I'm
a
thinking of all
great
kinds of
idea person.
ideas. And I'm like, I don't think I can share this on the podcast because
Oh,
they're
That's
too
my job.
easy and they would work really well. And
I
I don't
mean,
want to be responsible for
We're not responsible for a murder. Or
well,
disclaimer.
I won't get into it, but
Yeah.
people have been
Don't
blamed for things.
do things.
However, brightly colored fentanyl called
That's it.
So there's rainbow fentanyl.
Oh, I saw a thing about this. Yes.
This is what it's been called by the media anyway. It's brightly colored
Right.
fentanyl and it's used to target young people because it looks like candy. This is what it looks like.
But most
Oh, wow.
people
Doesn't it look like candy?
Yeah.
Like sweet tarts.
But most
Yeah,
people don't give
well,
away
too,
their
it's
highly expensive fentanyl drugs to children, but they may sell it to teens to get them hooked.
I said
Yes.
young people.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
she knows.
This
She knows what I'm saying.
this
It's
trend
not ending up in the Halloween candy.
this trend appears to be a new method that the drug cartels are using to get people addicted because it looks fun. Like if you're at a party, like a college party, you
Yeah.
see those on the table. Yeah, that's fun.
I was
Woo.
never invited to a college party.
Well, I mean,
What's that like?
I didn't go to college parties
Was
either.
it fun?
But I grew up.
Sarah
going
has.
to-
Look at her over there. She's like,
I
"Aw."
grew up going
She awed
to
me.
house parties.
My next part. I don't throw parties though.
We throw parties, but it's a different level. There's no drugs involved.
Oh, what happens at these parties?
Upside down twerking.
If my kitchen remodel ever gets done, then I'm gonna have a celebratory party.
We need a tourist party. We didn't do it this year because of COVID.
Well, I'm gonna have an all-purpose party when
Well,
my
that's-
kitchen's done.
fine. Can we also have a tourist party?
You host one, bitch. Why is it always me?
It's not always, you haven't hosted.
You have
because
never
Derby-
hosted a party.
I never hosted my new home party, whatever that is.
Housewarming.
6 years ago.
I always host parties. I love hosting parties.
I hate hosting parties. That's why I had one
Oh, I
time.
love it.
One time I had the Derby girls over to watch the WFTDA championships at 10 o'clock. I was like, I'm gonna go to bed. You guys can stay if you want. And of course people leave because that's weird. That's weird.
That is weird.
I'm not a good host. And guess what? They left.
If you're tired.
And I went to bed.
Yeah, you just tell them to get the fuck out.
I did. I
I've done that
genuinely
before.
want them to enjoy themselves, but I was done.
I'm an excellent host.
See?
And this house is
I can-
designed for parties. That's why I have no rugs.
Exactly. I can
Let's
only
do it.
have fun in your house.
Macy, you do have wall-to-wall carpeting.
I know.
Not party friendly.
No.
Okay, can I get back to my topic?
I
please?
guess.
Thank you.
Okay. It's a great topic so far. I'm
Well,
enjoying it.
I'm like this far into
I
it,
really
so-
enjoy this top you're wearing. As well.
Um,
That's nice.
That's pretty.
It's a tunic, actually. So
What is a tunic?
can we call it what it is?
Kind of
please?
covers your mid butt.
My mid? What's
I
a
mean,
mid butt?
it only goes down the mid butt.
What if I stand up?
What is a tunic?
It covers my whole butt if I stand up.
Oh, it's a whole butt.
A mid butt.
I don't. I've
Half-ass.
I mean, I'm like, if I turn sideways, I have a
Number
mid
one.
butt, but standing upright, I do not have.
I
a
mean, I
mid
kind of
butt.
have a decent badonkadonk. It might be a mid butt on me. Maybe it's, but
So these look fun. These pills.
right.
They look like candy. They look like sweet.
I
tarts.
need them. Your sweet tart.
I know. So this is the DEA says these rainbow pills, these brightly colored pills that come in actually all shapes and sizes. That's just one example. Is a deliberate effort by drug traffickers to drive addiction among young people.
You know what they should
Evil.
do if they made them in little rainbows? I'd probably eat that.
See? Brightly colored fentanyl is being seized in multiple forms. So pills, powder, and then they make these big bricks, which are actually kind of impressive looking. And they're imprinted
I know.
like a
Mm.
brand name, like they're imprinted so they can tell like where they came from.
Mm.
Despite claims that certain colors may be more potent than others, there's no indication through the DEA's lab that this is the case.
Okay. So it's not like, oh, watermelons, not Starburst. Jolly Ranchers are better than all
Well,
the others.
there's some word on the street that is false, that like, oh, avoid blue or avoid green or avoid.
Oh,
pink or
but that's kind
whatever.
of just to get people to like still buy it, but like, don't worry, you won't die if you don't to overtake the blues.
But I can see, I mean, I grew up with drug culture and street culture, and I can see where you'd find comfort in those things. Like people have had experiences like I've never had a bad deal with blue.
Yeah.
Nobody I know has, like blue is safe or whatever. I'm just making up that color.
Right.
But every color, shape, and size of fentanyl should be considered extremely dangerous.
It's just the color. The color has nothing to do with the drug.
But people try to, find comfort and safety where they can. God, I'm gonna have another coughing fit.
Fruit Loop. I've heard Fruit Loop, each color actually tastes the same.
No, it does.
You
It
try
does. No, I mean, no, I've heard that too, that
Yeah.
it's the same flavor,
Yeah.
but your mind plays tricks
Makes
on
me
you.
carrier, like.
Well, there was
Yeah.
that whole thing back in the day where they had to stop doing, was it red
Red-
M&Ms?
Red
Because they were,
dye,
like,
whatever.
poisoning people. Drug traffickers often mix fentanyl into other drugs because it's super cheap to manufacture, and a small amount, as I said, only 2 mgs goes a long way. Fentanyl is often mixed
Works.
into other substances
It's just sharp.
or marketed as substances other than fentanyl, including prescription meds. Why am I not wearing my glasses?
Oh,
Part of the
whenever,
problem.
this is something you need to help her with too.
Yeah.
I try to watch for, if you see her squinting really close to her laptop, no, you just say rudely, why aren't you wearing your glasses? And then she finds.
Well, Sarah
don't-
doesn't have to
you
be
have to be
rude.
nice.
It's not her nature.
Is
Sarah's
it
a
my,
very
it's
nice
my,
person.
I just get nicely handed.
it's my
Yeah.
nature.
We don't want to turn Sarah to the dark side.
I am riding with Sarah. I will turn her.
No.
So this is really dangerous
Well, I think
because
so.
Look how much we like each other. It's from our car rides.
I'm gonna bring you to
It's
the
fabulous.
side.
individuals often don't intentionally take fentanyl because it's mixed into drugs that they mistake for other drugs.
Right.
So it's being, it looks like cocaine.
Cocaine.
It looks like you can't tell the difference visually. It can be put in capsules and it's being pressed into pills made to look like prescription meds that are popular to buy in the street, like Oxy, Xanax, Adderall, and
Codone.
they're making it look exactly like them. So I looked at a lot of stories on the news about with like college kids that thought they were just buying something that they take anyway or that they need, to help with anxiety or to help with
Mhm.
focus at college. Because Xanax,
Right.
Adderall, those have been popular things to buy non-prescription.
I watched a Vice show that talked a bit about this, and one of the people shared that like, oh no, I wouldn't like the people making it. Oh no, I wouldn't take this. It's too dangerous. Or there's obviously people who do take it, but like they are very aware of how, because some of them like mix drugs within it, and so there's no way of knowing like actual potency or like levels of anything. It's just like
Well, yeah. I mean, that's street drugs.
that's street drugs.
So what people need to know now, because the landscape has changed, any pill or drug that's sold on the internet or on the streets or by a person you even know could contain a lethal dose of fentanyl.
Lethal.
And they're good. Look,
That means
real
dead.
Xanax,
I told
fake
Max
Xanax.
this.
You can't tell the difference.
I told Max this, I'm like, don't ever take.
Yeah, look,
anything
they look exactly the same. They're pressing them so they look exactly the same. Yeah, that's why I had talks with my kids. I'm like, don't take a fucking Tylenol. Nothing.
Nothing from something that
Nothing.
was not prescribed to you.
Yep.
If mommy
Just
don't put it in
know.
your hand, you put it down in the
Like that.
garbage.
Can I put that as our title?
If mommy don't put it in your hand,
Put it down.
put it down. Is that dirty too? I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like I've
yeah.
said like 4 things now.
Yeah.
Well,
Man.
here's a couple things you said.
What?
Um, You said taint
When?
early
What?
on.
I
Early
did
on, you
not
said it. You did.
I did not. Sarah says no. Look at our auditor.
She said it early on because it registered with me. I was like, I don't like that word.
Okay, but I mean, like, what did I say? Tainted?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it was,
taint, ed,
Tainted, like
taint.
tainted has been tainted. I'm not saying
Ed.
taint.
I heard taint is part of tainted, and that was what registered with me.
I did not say taint on the air. You did. And now I did more.
For several seconds after you said that, all I was thinking about was how much I don't love that word.
I can't believe that you come at me with taint. I said
There's
tainted.
another word you said after that
Taint.
too that I can't
Say it.
remember. I don't recall.
Needle in my mouth.
No, it was
Prick in
before.
my-
It was in between taint and before.
Sorry, Dad. I did not mean any of
prick.
this. She is
It was
Oh, this
something
is-
else you said. I'm like,
all highly out of context. I'm appropriate.
oh, are we blaming it on the edit now? Is that what
I-
you're doing, Macy?
I never went to a college party. This is naivety filtered by San Francisco.
I never went to a college
I
party
don't
either.
know, Sarah.
By the time I started
Do
college,
you think
I was
Sarah
done.
would have been that person? I didn't, but now I do. Now I get it.
been to college parties, but I didn't like
What's wrong
parties.
with college parties?
You never
I
went. What do
Nothing
you know?
inherently wrong with a college party.
Everything's wrong with it.
I just wasn't. I mean, by the time I started doing drugs when I was little kid, so by the time I was in my 20s, I was like, over it.
Okay, so la-di-da, Macy in her 30s says tainted on air.
Maybe it's time for you to break bad.
What?
Breaking Bad.
Are you
Maybe
gonna
it's
drug
time.
me?
No, but I mean, like maybe you need to like cut loose. Footloose.
My dad listened to
You
this
got
podcast.
percentage
Daddy,
used.
Daddy, dearest, I will not.
Okay,
I'm
listen
a
to
good
this.
child.
Back to
Back to
fentanyl.
Right.
Back to fentanyl. Focus.
Fentanyl, the deadly drug.
Don't make me go out and buy
You just
some
told me to-
street Adderall that contains fentanyl so we
Are
can
you gonna
focus.
drug me one day
and we'll
and
all
you're like
die.
cut loose? Let me talk about fentanyl. That's your transition.
No, that would be your own choice. That's the whole thing.
No,
if-
my choice is not because I haven't.
I know, but maybe one day. Sometimes people that
I
never went through a bad phase feel like they're missing out at some point, and then they want to like.
don't.
Explore
I
that.
don't feel that at all.
No, you don't now.
I'm gonna
Fentanyl.
be 70 years old, being like, she's right.
I know you'd be like, what do I fucking care anymore? Who do I have to answer to? I don't care what people think of me.
Give me my pixie stick.
Partay.
It was cyanide, right?
Give me some Molly. Point me in the direction of the rave.
I don't know, like some sort of bass music. I thought I've never been to a club. I can't.
You haven't been to a club either.
No, I'm
Crazy.
sorry. Don't judge me.
Oh my god. See, this is why
Let's go. I
you
would.
don't understand.
Can we three weirdos go to a club one day? I would love to see that.
There's no
happen.
clubs in Spokane.
I don't know what is club.
Club is not here.
They don't.
They don't have clubs here.
We don't want to go to.
I used to go to the club though.
Wow.
When I was a teenager,
Is this it?
80s club was hopping.
80s don't exist anymore.
I know the club scene was great. All right, fentanyl is a synthetic opioid. So in case you're wondering, what is fentanyl?
A synthetic.
What
opioid.
even is it? It's 50 times more potent than heroin. 50 times.
Heroin's pretty potent.
And 100 times more potent than morphine, which I have an allergy to. So do not give it to me because I'll die.
I'll be like, don't do it if she's unconscious on the floor. Don't give her morphine, and she bleeds a lot, so don't cut her.
I'm a bleeder too.
Yeah.
So, like I mentioned, just a few grains of table salt worth of fentanyl is a lethal dose. And without laboratory testing, there's no way to know how much fentanyl is concentrated
Right.
in a pill or powder. Even pills from the same batch, when they look at it at the lab, show extreme variation in concentration. So, and we could get some from the same batch, same little baggie. You could take one, be fine. I could take one, be fine. Macy drops dead.
What the? Why is
Why are
it
you
me?
killing me?
I mean, I was just going around the room.
I feel like that's purposeful.
You could take one and be fine. Sarah could take it and be fine. I could drop dead. Does that make you feel better?
No, because it was
I'm
said
willing
later
to drop dead.
after I took issue.
And then
After I
so
was just looking, I'm like, she's such a pretty human, and then you're like, Macy dies. Great.
it's just hypothetical. So
I hypothetically
here's some
die.
of the street names for illegally manufactured fentanyl.
These are gonna be fun.
Apache,
Mm.
Dance Fever,
Ooh.
Friends,
Title. These are titles.
Goodfellas,
Good fellas.
Murder 8,
Ooh.
Tango and Cash.
Any Candymans?
No, illegally manufactured fentanyl in its liquid form can be found in nasal sprays, eye drops, and dropped onto paper or small candies. So really, it can be anywhere
If you're
and it can
willing-
be anything.
If you're willing to eat paper, you might get.
Here's what a
fucked.
lethal dose looks like. Look how small.
Ooh, yeah, that could be like I'm dusting one day and I
Can
huff
it
it.
be dropped into marijuana, into cannabis?
It could
Oh,
be
for
into
sure.
anything.
For sure.
Like it's, yeah.
It could be anywhere and
Really?
anything, all the time.
So late,
That's why it's so terrifying.
you could. It's
No.
well, you would lace the marijuana with that, but you'd probably get more money purchasing that than you would marijuana. So you'd probably have, like, if you're making money, if this is a money thing,
Right,
which is
it is.
But if it's a murder thing,
Oh,
murder.
fentanyl remains the deadliest drug threat facing this country
What's the goal
at this
here?
time.
Hmm.
According to the CDC, 107,622 Americans died of drug
Can
overdoses.
you say that number one more time slowly?
107,622
Thank you. Got it. Okay.
died
This is
of
a
drug
lot.
overdoses in 2021. So that's last year.
Wow.
And 66% of those deaths were related to synthetic opioids like fentanyl.
So stop worrying about, I mean, maybe not fully stop, but don't be so effing paranoid about razor blades in your kids' candy. Be more worried about the real legit fentanyl trying to be sold to them.
Absolutely.
Like it's not happening on, they're
It's
not
okay
giving,
if I just worry about everything.
they're not giving it away for free. Like these people are about money, like period. They're not
The
giving it
candy
away for free.
situation, honestly.
So
scary.
fentanyl poisonings right
This is
now,
bad
listen to
choices.
this stat.
I am.
Fentanyl poisonings are now the leading killer in the US of those ages 18 to 45. The leading
What?
killers.
Younger even, like the teen population.
No,
Right.
because I think it's just showing up more for young adults.
For grabbing meds off the street,
No, 18 and 45.
18 to.
What do you mean?
245.
Okay, wait. What do you mean? What 45-year-old? Almost every drug user I know is somewhere between 30 and 45.
Oh,
These are like habitual substance users that have leveled up over time. Even
And some of the young
Or new people
people
getting
could be college kids, like I
Right.
said, they think they're
Trying
buying an
something new.
Adderall
off the
and it's
street.
not a
right.
Adderall, or not off the streets necessarily.
It could be from their
Buying
friends.
it from a
Or
friend,
parties.
or
Mhm.
it's at a party and there's just like pills,
I went to-
or like it's the trusted hookup,
Right.
you know.
I went to one party once and I walked in his Halloween party. Dad would be proud of me. I went in and there was a lot of making out among lots of people and they offered me ecstasy and I left and I went home.
Well, the problem is you got there too late. You got to get in.
No, they
on
were
the floor.
no, and that was like I was very sober walking into
Yeah,
a-
that's where you went wrong.
oh no thanks.
You don't come late to a cuddle party.
Is that what you got? Cuddle party? Cuddle
I'm tying it into our last
cuddle
episode.
cuddle
Yeah.
puddle is
Yeah.
what we call derby like pile-ups, cuddle puddles. Oh,
I didn't call them.
I call them cuddle puddles. That could be a topic name as well.
Fentanyl available in the US is primarily supplied by two criminal drug networks, the Sinaloa cartel. So that's where stuff in our area is coming from.
Hmm.
And the network makes its way up from Mexico, and there's a big hub in Yakima,
Interesting.
and then it makes
Okay,
its way up to
okay.
our area.
Yeah, I
and
think
the
the one
other-
I watched was out of California for the show that I had seen. So I haven't seen anything for Washington.
And then, well, these are the two in the whole US, the two
Oh,
major
biggies.
criminal drug networks. So it's the Sinaloa cartel and the Jalisco New Generation cartel.
That's scary. That's out of our home state. That's not great. Not great
Well,
at
no,
all.
I mean, that's just the path to come up here. There's paths that go all around the
They
country.
spread those drugs.
In another recent raid, this one in LA, and this is just recently too, in the last week, 258,000 pills were found. And each of the pills contained enough fentanyl to kill a person.
Hmm.
And this is just like one drop in the bucket of what's out there.
Right.
8,500 pounds of fentanyl were seized in border crossings during the first 9 months of this year, 2022. So remember that little bit that it takes to kill? 8,500 pounds. That was just seized, while they're checking cars crossing the border. And just through September. The DA sees 10 million fentanyl pills between May and September across the country. So I thought I'd throw in just a little snippet of
So you're viewing
why
pleasure.
this becomes so addictive. Our body naturally makes opioids,
Yes.
and
Pain.
endorphins is one example of a naturally made opioid. So this is why we have opioid receptors in our brain, because our body naturally makes it. And opioids change our perception of pain, because pain is an illusion, actually.
It
Future
is.
topic.
Remember
Yeah.
the hand experiment we did?
Yeah.
Yeah, the.
Did you
Phantom-
watch it?
Phantom
Phantom
Limb.
Limb? Did you watch the
Mhm.
video?
I watched it.
That was fun. I almost bought a fake hand off Amazon because of that, and I want to use it.
I don't know. I used to have one. I don't know what happened
No, it
to it.
wasn't little tiny hand. It was a real hand. It was a real hand. Why'd you do that on your face? Why would you touch it on your
Is
face?
this makeup tutorial or this group?
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Really funny.
Are you on TikTok?
No.
Facebook.
So these opioid receptors we have in our brain cause dopamine to flood our system to
Yeah.
help us. It doesn't help us stop feeling pain because we don't really feel it, but it helps us change that perception. And it feels fucking fantastic and eventually becomes a need. So at first it's a want and then it's a need, and that's
Mhm.
the basis for the addiction for me.
Uh-huh.
So fentanyl was made as a legitimate pain medication in the medical field in the 60s, and it had real uses. One of them was for cancer pain that was resistant to the typical pain meds that they would
Mhm.
prescribe.
Mhm.
But by the early 2000s, misuse was already occurring. And at that time, 80% of those prescribed the fentanyl lollipop that was created for cancer patients did not actually have cancer. I don't know why we're making it a lollipop farm. Why are we trying to
okay.
make it fun?
Did it have bubble gum in the middle though? I
No,
would-
no.
That's your fault.
How many licks?
Do you remember the rappers on those? I think they got in trouble for having the Native American, like with the bow and arrow and the little star on it. And if you turn that in, you get a free lollipop. That never worked. They always said like doesn't exist, but it was supposedly.
I collected Campbell soup labels and sent it in, and I got my free Campbell soup mug, and I still have it in my kitchen.
Like, where did I hear? Have you heard that? Like the lollipops with the like where the one with the like the
Yeah, I
the
heard
Native
about
American
it.
with
I
the-
never tried that one.
If it had the full piece with the star, you could get a free one. But that never. I took it in and they'd say no, we don't.
Well, I'm sure
Oh, no,
they
that's
had to
false
remove that
advertisement.
because, well, also it's
That's what I
like,
said.
It still
Yeah.
exists. They're still on
They're on
them.
there?
I've seen them
I'm gonna look.
on a
Well,
lollipop.
well, maybe they consulted with
I mean, actually, okay.
tribes, and maybe the tribes are cool with it, or maybe they're like
to
giving
be
some
fair,
money
I
to the
have not
tribes.
seen it in the last 10 years.
Okay,
which-
well, that's what I mean. Yeah, we need to look into it and see.
right.
I will buy a Tootsie
Offensive,
Roll Pop.
offensive candy is from like the smoking cigarettes, the
Oh my
candy
god, I
cigarettes.
fucking love them. You can still buy those at least.
I know, well, but that's what I'm saying is like,
That's fun candy.
I
Sure,
love
maybe.
pretend
could you
smoking
imagine them
fentanyl.
like they could put fentanyl in that and just done?
Wow.
I love those. And the more high end ones had like the glowy end where it was like
I don't
really like
even know
you're
that.
inhaling.
I never had a high end one. Actually, I was very. That would be like if you got in a Halloween bag, you'd hide that you had those from your parents.
Oh, I never got those in a Halloween bag.
I never got them in real
I got
life.
it from the ice cream truck.
My dad would never let me.
They would sell them in our ice cream truck that
Oh,
was
yeah.
in my hood.
I just had like the SpongeBob ones that had a
Oh,
gumball
Maybe
in
this is
it.
the difference between California and
Maybe this
Spokane.
is, yeah.
One of many.
I wasn't here then.
We in California, you know,
I was in
East
Snohomish. I was in West Side Washington. Give me at
Well,
least a little
Washington.
credit. Thank you.
Washington.
There's a difference
yeah.
between West and East Coast.
It's a big difference.
It is.
It's
Yes.
like 300 miles or something.
I'm gonna fight you.
In 2016, the fentanyl crisis claimed its first high-profile victim. One of my favorite artists of all time, Prince.
Oh, what? Cream?
Prince.
And-
Cream, sugar on top.
Yeah, I remember my dad playing that song. He had a
I love
cassette.
Prince. I've always loved
Cream.
Prince.
I didn't
Still love
know that's how he
Prince.
went. That's so sad. I'm gonna.
Yeah. And this
Hmm.
really brought the fentanyl crisis into the mainstream awareness.
Mhm.
And it's reported that he didn't take the drug directly, but it was found in counterfeit pain medication that he was taking.
So he may not have even known, or he
No.
did know. Maybe.
No, he didn't know.
Did he? Do we know that? he didn't?
No, but that's my personal
That's fine. He
fan
seems.
loyal
He
opinion.
seems like a good dude.
Oh my gosh, I'm such a Prince fan. I love Prince.
I only know the Cream song, but I liked it.
What? I would die for you.
My parents went to a Prince concert when my mom was pregnant with me. So I think I have like This love for Prince.
Love Prince,
Yeah.
fucking love Prince.
You have to talk louder because you're not in front of the mic, just FYI.
Okay.
Fentanyl has now overtaken oxy and heroin in the opioid epidemic. So we heard a lot about oxy, we heard a lot about heroin, now it's fentanyl. And fentanyl kills people because it shuts down your ability to breathe.
Not good. It's that moment that you're like, I forget how to breathe. And then it's over that fast.
Yeah, I mean, I was given morphine when I broke my arm. See, my arm is deformed. Well, not deformed, differently formed. And I even put in my chart that I'm allergic to morphine, but when they changed shifts, they didn't communicate that. And so they gave it to me and I almost freaking died from a broken arm.
I'm so upset by it. Yeah, no,
I was so upset.
shift change do not excuse, and that's come up like fairly recently too with some.
I was
with
like,
deaths.
I had all the stickers all over me. You know,
I'm just gonna write. I'm gonna take a marker out of my pocket. Don't
It's
do
so
it.
bad. So bad.
Stop it.
Just
Just stop.
No, I was like fading. It was
Morphine.
it
No,
was
no.
scary. Many overdose deaths are due to fentanyl mixed with cocaine or fentanyl mistaken for cocaine because, unlike cyanide, you can't see or smell or taste it. There are
Oh, I
test
see what you're
strips
saying.
that you
Unless
can
you
get.
taste an almond.
Yeah.
What was it? Almond.
yeah.
Almond.
You said like it was like specific, like burnt almond. No, it wasn't burnt. That's burnt hair.
Almond.
That's burnt hair. That's a different thing.
That was your burnt eyeball.
Yeah.
That was
Oh, my
way back
eyeball burned.
in the first half. There are
And-
test strips that you can get that are pretty inexpensive that can tell you if your drugs are laced for
They're
fentanyl,
almond.
but it
Fair.
can't tell you everything that's in it.
Yeah.
So here's a sad story because I want to bring
That's what I did too. I brought a
Human-
sad story into it.
human aspect because you might
Right.
think, oh, what does this matter? Why should I care?
I
This
care.
is why you should care
Care.
because babies are dying.
No.
So in Spokane,
Not
our
the-
city where
not
we
the
live,
Babies.
this is our city. You may have saw this in the news. So just last December, 17-month-old baby Serenity died of a fentanyl overdose after coming into contact with fentanyl that her father was dealing. So he was selling what's called blue Mexi pills, which are counterfeit oxycodone. And police interviewed a witness at the home who said the parents, quote, like to dabble in Mexis, unquote, and said they weren't sure if the child had, quote, gotten a hold of something, unquote. So the witness said,
Babies don't get a hold of something.
well, if people have it laid all out on the coffee table.
Don't do that.
The witness said she had also gotten Mexis from the drugs that were kept in a candy container. So this is where
Mhm.
having things look like candy can affect young kids because if you have it in the home, it looks
Mhm.
like candy. You can't rely on
Right.
kids to listen to you when you say don't get into that.
And that was big in the like the marijuana like becoming legalized, like the like don't make it gummies with cartoon characters because a kid that might see that laying around might eat
Yeah.
it like gummy bears.
Or a Tide Pod.
Well, yes. I feel like a Tide Pod is a good, just don't, I don't know, it doesn't
Well,
look
they're
like candy.
colorful
I don't
For
see
little
that,
kids.
but
for little kids. They're drawn to that shit. And it looks fun. And I'm like, what is that? Like Stella just yesterday wanted to put the little dishwasher thing in for me. And I'm like, no, don't you
Oh.
ever touch that.
Yeah.
I
Death Patrol.
only Nana puts in the dishwasher pod.
The death patrol stage.
Exactly.
that's
Everything in her house.
terrifying.
Because you think, especially like where she's at 3, you don't watch every second anymore. Like,
So they start to get independent.
yeah, like you can, but they're still not making the best decisions.
So-
I mean, we just had a whole thing where she shoved a freaking rock up her nose. I'm like, what? Why? Why
Mark
did you
put a
shove it?
Lego guy's head up his nose, and then like Nick had to get it out, and he was an angry Lego, and so no, don't do that.
Yeah, so you can't trust.
Don't
I mean,
stick
still,
things up holes.
even if you
No,
think
yeah,
that
I had that
they're
thought.
listening to you,
holes.
like everything still needs to be locked
Holes are
up.
not for inserting.
Well,
No.
time and place,
Age.
age and place. So this father has been charged with homicide. Rightly so. So poor little Serenity, I mean, that just sucks that her life was cut short by having shitty parents. That
Don't be a
didn't deserve her.
Be a shitty parent.
Well,
Basics.
It doesn't shut. Stop it. It doesn't shut. It's broken.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
just needs
is.
more
No,
love.
it's broken.
Like,
Trust me, it's broken.
This is the center. You got so angry about the child being not well taken care of. I saw the table. Look at it.
No, it's broken. It won't shut on the side.
It
So
just
don't
doesn't.
worry
It
about it.
doesn't clamp.
No, it doesn't close.
We won't force
This
it.
is a really antique
Force
table
the-
and
force
it's broken. Like this is from the 1800s,
That's character.
but it doesn't shut. So just don't
It's okay.
try to make it because
Don't
it's
do that.
happy having
Character.
part of
flaws.
it ajar. It's not a flaw. It's just unique.
It's a jar.
There were 120 deaths related to fentanyl in Spokane County last year. That's our county. That's 120. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's up from 28 in the year
2020.
before and 10
Wow.
in 2019.
Obviously getting way
We're
worse.
seeing, but
Yeah.
it's like a dramatic, it's an exponential rise. And this trend is being seen all over the country, not just here.
Oh my gosh, I just realized that was
Lusa and baby
Lusa.
Stella. I know. We'll show you patrons what we're talking about. No, our patrons. You want to see it? You'll pay $1.
Lusa, though, used to join us on our
Angry.
podcast and is a sweet soul. That what a cute! I didn't never knew that.
Brings me to tears.
I can't. Yeah, I know. I mean, I know it's the baby second, but it's fair. I'm more emotionally connected with
We'll
Stella.
talk about it after. This will be
Remember
our
when
post
I
farm.
still have the video of when Stella farted throughout the whole podcast.
You mean Lusa?
Sorry. Go on.
I'll try. Let's not mix up my dog and my granddaughter. Okay, so federal drug enforcement officials have really stepped up these efforts. 15,000 pounds of pure fentanyl were seized in 2021. That's enough to kill every single person in America.
Except for those of us that don't go to clubs.
It doesn't
Party.
have to be clubs. That's what I'm saying.
Parties or friends. If you don't have
No,
friends.
no, no. I mean, it could be just somebody being like, I'm anxious. I have an interview tomorrow. Oh, I have a Xanax. Here you go. Like,
Don't
it,
do
it
that.
could be
I
anybody,
don't take drugs from anybody. Trust nobody.
but not everybody does because some people don't have the money. Might
Right.
need the hookup.
It sucks.
Not everybody has health insurance. So
Right.
that's why this is freaking me out because it can come from people you trust. It can not be expected. Like you don't expect it to come in the form it's coming.
Mhm.
Like it may seem innocent like a pixie stick, but it's not candy.
It's
Like how I
not
tied everything together.
candy.
Like that.
So this is some good news. Fewer US teens are doing drugs.
Oh, great. But
Here's the
more-
bad news.
more are dying.
More are dying. If you encounter fentanyl in any form, do not touch it. Call 911 immediately because it is so freaking toxic.
How do you know?
You
you're
will die.
encountering it until after the
But
fact?
if you suspect, just call 911.
So like
Don't
you got
touch it. Back
something
away.
suspiciously. So I met someone who went to the bar just socially with friends and her friends left. And then so this is more about date rape drug, but
Oh,
she was sitting there drinking, like her friends were gone and somebody offered her a drink
Mm-mm.
and she drank it because she's like, oh, I'm just gonna have one and leave. And so she was driving one of those scooter things downtown Spokane, they're everywhere.
Death
Well,
traps.
Death traps. So she was driving that out and all of a sudden she lost consciousness. And I saw her and her face was shredded from just hitting concrete. And she woke up. Someone took her to the hospital and she was drugged.
Goodness, that sounds
But like,
super
but again, like how do you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, my friends left off one more drink. Oh, someone offered to pay for a drink. Sure. And I'm going home anyways. Not a big deal. I'm not
Don't
talking
take
to
it.
them.
Yeah.
Don't take it.
And then she passed out on a scooter. The worst place to be.
Get something that's like a beer with an opening that you can open yourself. I was given something before. I was drugged before.
Really?
I ended up in a
What?
really weird situation that night. That's a tale for another time.
Okay.
Probably just us three.
Okay.
That's a upside down twerking moment.
Wow.
That's a Naomi party.
Yeah.
So
I can't host those parties.
you can get free Naxalone kits, commonly known as Narcan kits, in our state through People's Harm Reduction Alliance.
Right.
I ordered one,
I actually have one in my house.
but you need more than one because I've heard with fentanyl, you may need to administer 4, 5, 6 because fentanyl is so
Wow.
powerful.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
don't just rely on one, but
Mhm.
the way this epidemic is right now, everybody should have an Nexalone on hand so that you can try to save someone who's
Oh, do
overdosing.
not. Oh, so
Yeah.
It's a nasal
it's a
spray
nasal that helps. Like, so if you go unconscious from that, it helps.
if you're overdosing.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
It can reverse the effects of
And save your
overdosing.
life.
Yeah, it can
Literally.
save a life.
Again. So,
Naxalone, commonly known as a Narcan kit. So your state, I don't know what the name of it is in your state, just Google it, but in Washington State, it's the People Harm Reduction
And
Alliance.
if you're prescribed any type of opiate or high, something like that, you can actually request that. Sometimes they'll give it to you anyways to have just in case. But that's something that can be prescribed to you in like adjunct to something else that you're getting just in case. Which
And
is
locally, you
good.
can also, they're giving them out free at the Spokane Regional Health District as well. So you can go there and get some.
PSA.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth it to save a life to have those on hand.
Mhm.
I'll be stuffing a bunch in Asher's backpack. He'll be like going for his Luna bar and pull out a bunch of
Is it called
Narcan kits.
Narcan? Yeah, Narcan is the word. we
Yeah,
use.
yeah. I mean, Asher's straight edge, which is super fucking cool that still exists,
In
but
high school straight edge, you had the like
Oh, yeah.
permanent marker It's on your hands, like
Concerts, like
yeah.
but I worry, like
I don't do drugs.
he's-
I didn't, but I also didn't feel like they had to mark them.
it's punk rock. I mean, I'm so proud of him, but he's going to college now. He's going to Gonzaga. Like, I don't know, I think he's a very smart kid, but what if, it's in a soda or it's in a this or that, and he just doesn't suspect.
And the thing is, it's
So
like
I'm just like, pack your own lunches, eat nothing,
Well, and
drink
just-
nothing.
in your household, like just to know, like in my house, if I ever have people up, because you don't know what other people bring in too. So if somebody has an
Bring a lot of shit.
emergency, like I would like to know that I have something to at least try to help, because between the time it takes for an ambulance to come, someone can die. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
helpful.
Oh, and something I learned in my research that I thought was really interesting is when you administer Narcan to somebody that's overdosing, they're immediately thrown into withdrawal. So they're gonna
Right.
feel like fucking shit when they come through. Instantly like
Yeah.
shit, like they're dying and
whoa.
they're gonna hate everything. So I mean,
I'm thinking like Pulp Fiction.
so be
Like, where they,
prepared
like,
for that.
Put that thing in that.
Oh, yeah.
to restart.
Oh,
that
with the
heart.
adrenaline, yeah. Whew. Mhm.
Oh my god, I love that movie.
That's such a good
Ooh.
movie. Oh, wait. Do that again, Sarah.
That was
Right.
really good.
Good job. That was amazing.
All right. So if you want to
All that.
support our podcast, please be our patron on Patreon. It's only $1 and it helps pay for our canned wine.
And let us know if you have any Halloween costume ideas. I have already decided. However, if we get nothing good, I'm gonna wrap her as a mummy. It's just gonna happen. Here, give me this toilet paper.
Doing it.
This is happening. And if not, if you have something better that can be done at home, key.
Oh,
I'm
We're
DIY. I'm
good.
crafty.
We're down.
I
We're
don't
down.
like spending a lot of money on Halloween. I just don't.
She
Smart.
wasn't excited at all when I said
Crazy.
this, but it's fine.
If
Fine.
you didn't listen to our last podcast, you should, because we talked about. I talked about professional cuddling. Macy talked about
Nico.
You can't ask me.
Bakanico, the
Ah,
haunted. Was it?
Kasha.
What was the haunted house
Kasha.
in
Well,
Hawaii?
Kasha in the house. I can't. I can't.
Kuramai
I don't
House
want
or
to
something
slaughter
like
it, but it's about Kasha. But there's a haunted house in Hawaii that is well known for it. I can't. This is too late. I've had a whole can, which is a lot for me. As we've covered, no clubs, no
No
bars, no parties,
Straight edge.
no friends,
just
no
waiting.
straight edge without the
I'm just
exes.
waiting for
That's
a
actually
great
the
bad.
most,
It's gonna
the
happen.
most straight edge is not having to advertise it. Until next time,
Don't take candy from strangers.
Get your Narcans.
get your it's Narcans.
Okay.
It
Get
is
your
Narcans.
Narcans.
And never trust a pixie stick.
Never.